Does social media have a positive or negative effect on Canadian politics?
I mean, I think in the next election, this is going to change how people vote for our prime minister, especially because we know what's actually going on, because social media is powerful and is showing us what's really happening around the world.
Social media has a large impact on just about everything. Social media has got such an influence on our younger generation that cannot determine things without seeing what and going along with what everybody else feels that should be right, irregardless if it's right or wrong. I would really prefer that social media just kind of go away and people start learning to think on their own.
There's so many things on there that you don't know if it's real or if it's coming from an educated, like, research background.
Right.
And I fall for it all the time too. Like, she's really good at educating herself in the right places, and I see it all online and social media, and I always come to her and like freak out over certain things. And she's like, that's not correct. It was manipulated, or it's not like reliable source. So I think it's bad.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're smart. I'm not.
What happens in social media is that people tend to silo. They tend to go into echo chambers and they never hear other opinions, and that's kind of un-Canadian. Traditionally in our culture, we're willing to listen to the other person's perspective and try and reach some kind of consensus on things we can agree on and move forward on those. And I think one of the impacts of social media is that people stop having the capacity to entertain alternative perspectives on world events, on public policy issues, on virtually everything. And they live in echo chambers and they just shout to a crowd. And when they encounter people who don't agree, they don't know how to cope.
I think that social media has a negative effect because we have a lot of these, I don't know if they're companies or people that are putting out false information, and a lot of times people feel because it's on social media they believe that it's the truth and they do no investigation of their own, and so they take what people are saying without checking the facts. And so I think there needs to be some standard or some guidelines when people post things on the internet that the facts should be checked first before they even post. And if they post something that we find out that is not true, a fine should be paid.
Well, it has a negative effect on Canadian politics. And I think that when you see the amount of time that people are spending on social media, it's worrying.
Well, I mean, it's not going to disappear anytime soon. I think that if people who are interested in politics and who have good ideas, if they make sure that they stay involved in social media, then it'll probably have more of a positive impact. And if we ignore it, and if we don't, move with the modern times, then whoever's trying to have a negative impact, they can definitely harness that power.
Definitely a negative. I think that social media kind of amplifies spreading hatred towards your neighbors. People with differing views, and then it spreads and communities suffer. Yeah, so I think social media is definitely a negative.
Ooh, I think it could have both. I think that there's definitely lots of positives, but there's certainly some negatives, and I think that just like anything else, that goes for politics.
I think it has a positive impact. You get more information through social media than you would just listening to politicians speak. So I think it definitely has a positive impact.
I think it has both a positive and negative impact. I think compared to the legacy media, you might be able to access various different types of opinions, as opposed to when we rely on legacy media, oftentimes we get trapped into our own echo bubbles and echo chambers. So it's, I think, a complicated answer.
I think it has both. I would say that if you're looking for one type of politics, it'll tend to serve you what you're already looking for. It's hard to deny that the rise of right-wing politics and encouraged by platforms like Twitter, now X, are in a monetary bubble right now. That kind of getting rage attention is where people are seeing a financial gain and benefit. It has been positive, but when you have platforms like Twitter or Facebook that are owned by these very individualized private corporations, it's hard to know if their algorithms are trustworthy or that they have the people's best interests in mind, I think.
I don't think it brings out the best in people. I think it makes everybody a little bit more hostile.
Negative for sure, because as soon as you load any of it, it's just down a rabbit hole of negativity, and and adverse thoughts.
Negative. Again, it's if you have a soapbox, you can get on that soapbox. People will listen to you, whether your viewpoints are good, bad, or whatever. It just what do I want to say? It just it gives an avenue for anyone to say anything without any checks and balances, repercussions. Yeah.
I think the way it's trending right now, it's a negative. Yeah, I think there's too much false posts putting out there, and I don't think enough people really grasp what's real and what's fake. And so overall, I'd say right now it's trending negative.
I think I won't say negative. I think social media is very helpful. People can give their opinion. They can express themselves freely. And I think it's very positive. Social media is so good. Like you can talk about whatever you want, and it's very helpful and it's reachable.
I believe the opposite, because I think that social media is like the worst thing for people nowadays. I'm not using social media at all, and I'm not trusting them at all, because I believe that they're spreading fake news. So I believe that people are using it to manipulate us, and I think that you should learn more by yourself, by traveling or by living true experiences. But I don't trust social media, to be honest.